Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding. It's over.
Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 711 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. We do Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Speaking of MMA, god damn was that fun last night. The Sphere, they had an event at the Sphere. Man, I want to get into that. Like, man, I've been so busy. It's so hard to get, MMA episodes out. But that's why we say on occasion. But UFC Noche was, man, and for the one fight that I fell asleep for, I was really tired. Ended up being the fight of the night. And, I woke up for the post-fight interview, and Rogan's interviewing the guy. He's like, the best fight I've ever seen. I'm like, really? But the rest of the main card was amazing. Awesome to see Valentina get her belt back. Merab fucking taking Sean's shit, just embarrassing him on the octagon, on the canvas. That was such a fun card. So I really want to talk about it, but we're here to talk Yankees. Here in episode 711 of the podcast. I appreciate you all tuning in. We're here talking New York Yankees. If you missed our Knicks episode, be sure to check out episode 710. We talk New York Knicks. It's been a while since we did, so that was fun. But the Yankees, man, this was a big series win to take 3 out of 4 from Boston. They started the season against Boston very terribly. They weren't winning anything. They were getting embarrassed at Fenway Park. Last couple series, the Yanks have turned it around and realized, they're our bitch. And that's that loser team with their loser, redneck fans can go watch the Yankees from the couch. And that's going to feel so good this October when they do. So to take 3 out of 4 from them in the Bronx to wrap up that season series is awesome. But the Yanks have not only won 3 of 4, they went 5-2 on the homestand. And they've also won 7 of 10 overall. So since that Cubs series, they've really started to put it together a little bit here. And with the Yankees win today and with the Baltimore loss, they're reeling right. They are really reeling right now. The Yankees are now back up by 3 games in first place. So they're currently in first at 87-63. It's a .580 win percentage. Baltimore's behind them at 84-66. So they're 3 games back. And then you got Boston in third place, 4.5 out of the wild card spot. So 3 up right now with, 12 games remaining? It's crazy how fast this shit's flying. 3 up with 12 games remaining means that the Yankees, they only have to, I don't want to say tread water, but just keep winning. Just play solid ball, keep winning, and they have this thing in wraps. It's kind of difficult to fuck this up. And that, that upcoming Baltimore series, I believe, is next weekend. It's 2 series from now. It's not it's not this upcoming series, and it's not the next series after that. I think it's the third series from now, but that's going to be a significant series. There's a good chance that unless Baltimore keeps losing and they're completely out of it, the Yankees will want to win that series. There's a good chance it's still going to be pretty close if Baltimore wakes up. And I feel good. Like the vibes have completely flipped. Hate to use that word. With this team over the last several weeks. I feel like they're hitting their stride at the perfect time, and the odds of the Yankees coming out of the American League seem decent. They're finally healthy and whole. Guys are back. It's a well-built roster. And the organization has finally made the right calls, right? Dominguez has been promoted. Verdugo has hit the bench. Now, hopefully this is not a platoon. But LeMahieu has gone on to the fake DL. They're done with him. Clay Holmes has been demoted to a lesser role. We'll talk more about his appearance, though, the other night. Austin Wells has been pretty much the full-time catcher now over the last month, Although, again, we'll talk more on the Game 4 later. But yeah, like the organization's finally making the right calls, it seems. And that's kind of just changed my outlook. I feel like they're in a good spot. They have some vets, but they've got some youths. The lineup is balanced. It's deep. The bullpen is starting to develop a core of go-to guys. Who's probably going to be relied on in the postseason. The rotation, I think, is enough. You got some question marks, but I think the questions are no different than any other questions for anybody else's rotation. I think they can get it done. And what you need in the postseason is power and pitching, right? Power and bullpen. And I believe the Yankees have that. And one of the things that I've been getting on them for, ironically, was like their inability to mount comebacks. And the second I opened my mouth and yap about that last Yankees episode, they go on to win 3 games in a row in comeback fashion. They have 2 walk-offs, and then they win the behind the 7th inning home run the other night. So, that to me is an important trait to have for October. Is can you come back in a game and produce runs in these unlikely moments? And so it was good to see them flash that. So I'm feeling really good about the team. So before we do dive into the show, just a couple of, notes, in-house notes. The Yankees said, this was before the series, they made an announcement that Stroman will be going to the bullpen for his next appearance. And they also noted just recently that Cody Poteet and Lou Trevino, I think Boone said they are close, that they're knocking on the door. If any of them do return to the big league ball club, which I don't know that they will, you wonder who goes out. Is it going to be Tim Mesa? The Yankees do like Tim Hill as their lefty specialist. Mesa's kind of been their mop-up guy. I think he has options. So if one of them do come up, maybe it's Mesa. Trevino's been down there for a while, which means that I'm thinking they're not loving his stuff. And Poteet has kind of, he's supposed to be this innings eater. So I don't know, if you're going to do this whole piggyback thing, he could be a good guy to save some innings for some of your starters. But you're kind of doing that with Cortez, and now you're doing that with Stroman most likely in his next appearance. So I think that's it. Because they're healthy. Everybody's back. And so the Yankees take 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 from the Red Sox in the Bronx. And let's talk about this series as soon as we return from our first break. We'll be back in a few seconds.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much.
Okay, let's get into the episode here. Let's get into the first game of the series. This was an exciting one. The Yankees won this game 2-1 against the Red Sox in 10 innings. The lefty Cortez going up against the righty Criswell. The Yankee bats scored 2 runs in the game on 7 hits, 1 home run, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts. They hit into 1 double play, and they went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Against Criswell, they got 1 run on him in 5 1/3. That came in the bottom of the first when Gleyber Torres picked up a leadoff home run off of a hanging sinker. He took it to right center field on the seventh pitch of the at-bat and put the Yankees up 1-0. That was it against Criswell. Against the Boston bullpen, they got their other run in 3 2/3 innings. And that came obviously when they went to extras in the bottom of the 10th with the game tied at the time against Winkowski. Soto takes the plate and he picks up a walk-off RBI single on a grounder to center field. John Birdie scores the winning run for the second consecutive game, and the Yankees win 2-1 because of Soto's walk-off single. Soto finishes 1 for 4 with a walk and an RBI. That was his first walk-off as a Yankee, second of his career. Torres 1 for 5, home run and RBI. Stanton 1 for 3 with a walk. Jazz goes 1 for 3 with a walk. He turns an excellent 5-3 double play in this game. And he also got pathetically picked off in the 6th inning where Wells was on second. I don't know if they were trying to do a double steal and he got confused, but it was pathetic. Dominguez goes 1 for 3 with a walk. 10-pitch at-bat in this game, spitting on some tough pitches. He was down 0-2 early. Then he picks up a single through the right side. So I liked what I saw from him. We'll talk more on him later. Anthony Rizzo goes 0 for 2, hit by a pitch, and he also drew a walk. And then Volpe was 0-4. He stranded the bases loaded twice. On the mound, Cortez with a 5 and fly. The bullpen pitched the remaining 5. I thought Boone actually managed the pen very well. Hamilton went an inning in 2/3, no runs, 3 strikeouts. So he pitched the 6th inning, and he got most of the 7th inning. Tim Hill pitched an inning and a third, no runs allowed, 1 strikeout. He pitched later in the 7th and then got the entire 8th. And then Canley pitched an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit, a walk, a strikeout. So he pitched the 9th inning, and then he pitched some of the 10th before he was pulled for Clay Holmes, who gets the last 2 outs of the game, finishes with 2/3 of an inning, no runs, gets the win. So that was it. On the mound in this game, as I said, Nestor Cortez, and we are going to tip our caps to lefty Nestor Cortez. I thought Nestor was the best starting pitcher of this series. You got some good starting pitching from, everybody but Garrett this series, but Nestor Cortez goes 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts though, a home run, 92 pitches, and I believe he got the no decision. Yep. On the year, Nestor Cortez here, if I can pull it up, 9-10 with a 3.90 ERA, a 1.15 WHIP. That's across 168 and a third innings. This is his 9th salute of the season, so the 9th time we tip our caps to Nestor. In this ball game, through 92 pitches, 45 four-seam, 19 change, 14 sweeper, or I guess 15 slider/sweeper, and then 13 cut. The four-seamer was very effective for him in this game. It got a ton of whiffs. The velocity was a little better than usual. Boston hitters were just 1 for 10 on the four-seam fastball with 6 strikeouts. He was throwing the changeup a lot in the zone, and the slider a lot out of the zone. But he got results. Put some traffic on, but no damage. Top of the 4th inning, he walks O'Neill and Connor Wong. So you got first and second. You couldn't locate the fastball to O'Neill, and then he couldn't locate the changeup to Wong. Story comes to the plate, and he gives him a nice cutter in on the hands, and Story bounces into a double play to third base. Jazz steps on third, throws to first. It was a nice play by him, and he gets out of the inning. The only mistake that hurt him was the top of the 5th inning with the Yankees up 1-0. Jasson takes the plate and Cortez hangs a slider to him. And so Jasson, in his typical Yankee killer fashion, takes advantage of it, and he punishes Cortez for a leadoff home run. That ties the game at 1. But that was really it, as far as the only damage. He limited Boston's heart of the order. Like, he handled Devers. He struck out Devers 3 times. So that was obviously a big key contributor. He faced Rafael Devers and he struck him out. He was man enough to face him. So yeah, but good job for Cortez. Listen, I like Cortez. He's fun and he's had a good season. He's pitched exactly as I expected him to pitch. He's a solid number 5. I still want him in the bullpen in October. I think he should be coming out of the bullpen in October as much as he wants to start. I think it makes most sense for Nestor Cortez to give you innings out of the pen in October. I think you should have as much swing and miss out there on the mound. And with him getting 9 strikeouts, I think that'd be good for the pen if he could keep striking guys out. But I want my rotation to have as much swing and miss as possible. And for that reason, I don't want Cortez in there. I would prefer it be Cole, Rodon, Heel, and Schmidt if you have to go to a 4th game. So that's it for Nestor. Good performance from him in the first game of the series, which was on Thursday. On Friday, the Yankees won game 2. They won this game 5-4 on Friday night. You had the righty Clark Schmidt going up against the righty Dick Fitz. Because I think this was the game where Tanner Houck was scratched. So Fitz got a late appearance or late notice, and he pitched in this game. The Yankees scored 5 runs in the game on 7 hits, 2 extra base hits, 6 walks, 7 strikeouts, and they were 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Against Richard Fitz, they scored no runs on him in 5 innings. They wasted 2 opportunities. Bottom of the first, they loaded the bases with 2 outs. Jazz flies out to left field. This was, he was up 3-0 in the count, and then it got to full, and then he flew out to left field. And then the bottom of the 4th inning, Rizzo's on second base with a double, 2 outs. Volpe comes to the plate. He flies out to left field. But they finally get to the Boston bullpen for 5 runs in 3 innings. They did waste an opportunity, bottom 7, where they had first and second 1 out versus Slayton. Jazz pops up, and then Rizzo strikes out on 4 pitches, swinging at a high fastball. But they finally awoke, obviously, in the bottom of the 8th inning. That was the big inning. The Yanks are down 4-0, and this jump-started Aaron Judge. Volpe and Verdugo with a couple of walks against Kelly. So now you got first and second, nobody out. Torres comes to the plate. He picks up an RBI single past shortstop. That knocks Kelly out of the game. Boozer comes in. And in a 4-1 game, Soto steps to the plate to load the bases with a walk. Still nobody out. Judge comes to the plate, takes the first 2 pitches for a ball, and then he gets a 2-0 meatball down the heart of the plate, and he pulls the living shit out of it to left field, goes into the Bronx sky, and all of a sudden, Aaron Judge snaps the Paw Patrol curse, and he picks up a go-ahead grand slam. So it's 5-4 Yankees. And that was it right there for the lead. Judge finishes this game going 2 for 3 with the grand slam. He also walked, picked up 4 RBIs, ending the Paw Patrol curse at, I think it was 72 plate appearances. So good for him. Torres goes 1 for 4 with a ribby. Stanton 1 for 3 with a walk. Rizzo 2 for 4 with a double. Clark Schmidt pitched in this game. He goes 5 2/3, 2 runs allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, struck out 5, allowed 1 home run, and he got the no decision. He's been great since his return. That's now 10 1/3 innings of 2-run ball. Just the one mistake in the top of the 6th where he leaves a cutter up in the zone to Masataka Yoshida, who I wanted the Yankees to sign when he was posted 2 years ago. And he, pulls a 2-run home run with 2 outs in the inning. So that made it 2-0 Boston at the time, but Schmidt's been good, and part of the reason why I like Clark Schmidt so much and why I'm banking on his upside in October is because everything he throws moves. his cutter is his primary pitch, but he's got the sweeper. He's got a good curveball, the two-seam fastball, sinker. He's got a very diverse pitch mix. He threw 86 pitches, 30 were cutters, 28 were sweepers, 15 curve, 13 sink. Got a lot of called strikes with the sweeper in this game. The curveball had a ton of drop. He kept it low. Got a lot of soft contact, ground balls with it. That's why he likes that pitch, because he misses bats with it, yes, but he also gets a lot of soft contact with it. So that was Clark Schmidt's outing. And the bullpen goes 3 2/3 to wrap it up. Leiter goes an inning and a third, 2 runs, 3 hits, a walk, a home run, and unfortunately gets the win that he did not deserve. He pitched late in the 6th inning and then all of the 7th inning. Top of the 7th comes, Casas draws, or he picks up a 1-out walk or a 1-out single for Casas. And then Story comes to the plate. He gets a mediocre cutter up in the zone, and he picks up a 2-run home run. I think it was his first, to make it 4-0 Boston. Mark Leiter just continues to be a guy who cannot be on the roster in October. I have 2 worries in this bullpen, and it's the Yankees going to Clay Holmes in high leverage, and it's the Yankees going to Mark Leiter at all. So hopefully by the time October comes around, they don't make either of those mistakes. Luke Weaver goes 2 innings after that. No runs, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, gets the save. He's awesome, man. He pitched the 8th and 9th inning. Top of the 8th, he strikes out the side. Top of the 9th, he gets 2 strikeouts. He was just dotting fastballs, man. Dotting fastballs and just clipping the edges with it. Backdoor, upstairs, below the zone, on the corners. He even mixed in a cutter. We don't see him throw cutters, but he mixed in a cut fastball to Casas on a 3-2 count. He clips the edge backdoor for a called strike 3. Awesome. He went 4-seam changeup, 4-seam changeup, 4-seam, 4-seam changeup, 4-seam cutter. So he just threw that in there to throw him off. Casas just completely stares at it. Had no idea it was coming. And then he ends the game with a changeup low in the zone to get Rafaela swinging. So nasty, nasty stuff. Love the way he sequences his pitches. Luke Weaver, hopefully he just keeps doing his thing, and hopefully they're not overusing him, but they do need him. And that was game 2 of this series. Game 3, which was on Saturday, the Yankees won 7-1. Garrett Cole, the righty, against the righty Brian Bayo. Cole goes 4 1/3, as we know, 7 runs, 2 strikeouts, 5 hits allowed, 3 walks, 3 hit batters. So he had 3-6. 11 base runners in 4 1/3 innings. Just pathetic. And most of those, all those guys came after the Devers thing. No home runs allowed. Gets the deserved loss. I don't know what else to say. He was absolutely, it was absolutely disgraceful to see him do what he did. It was cowardly. I lost a little bit of respect for him. I'm not going to lie. He was cruising along. He's pitched at this time. He's a 3 1/3 innings in. No hits. No hits. No runs. He's only 30-something pitches into his outing. Looking really good. Looking very sharp. Couple strikeouts already. And then he makes this odd loser decision. Top of the 4th inning, you got 1 out, nobody on. Yanks are up 1-0. What are you doing? Devers steps to the plate, and it's like, I don't even think Devers had a chance to friggin' step in the box. He's just immediately like, oh, yep. Take 4 or take 1. Like, intentionally walks him, and then it just all unravels right after that. You get Devers stealing third base on him. You get O'Neill walking. Gives up an RBI double to Yoshida to tie it at 1. Blake comes out to visit him, and then Abreu hits a 2-run single to make it 3-1 Boston. Doesn't end, once he gets out of the inning, it doesn't end there, because on the top of the 5th, Trevor Story, he gives up a leadoff base hit to him. Story steals second base. He's missing the zone a bunch with a bunch of fastballs upstairs to Jansen. Walks him. Valdez flies out to make it 1st and 3rd. I just spit. He hits Duran with a pitch. Now the bases are loaded with 1 out. Blake comes out a second time to visit him, and Devers comes to the plate. You can't walk him this time, and he has to face him. And what do you know? Devers kind of puts Boston, up big enough to guarantee the win here, because at this point it was just like, it's not going to go our way. Picks up a 2-run single and make it 5-1. Hits O'Neill with a pitch after that. Yoshida comes to the plate, gives him a bad curveball, picks up a 2-run single to make it 7-1. That's it for Garrett Cole. So I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm trying to put it past me. Every time I do think about it, it really just triggers me. But yeah, the intentional walk to Devers completely unraveled the rest of his outing. He's the type of pitcher where he's he needs everything to go right. He's very mental in that sense. And he intentionally walks Devers, and you could just tell that got to him mentally. But it really just bothered me. It was very cowardly. Just be a man. Be a competitor. Be the ace. Be the guy that's making $30 million a year. You're afraid of the moment? There was nobody on base with one out. What are you doing? You're cruising along right now. It made no sense. And it's like he was kind of like thinking, the way he, like the body language, the way he did it, it was like, haha, this is cute, hee. No, I'm tired of that shit. Like, I hope he wasn't trying to be funny because of the comments he made the other day on Devers. Like, I don't know, the body language just looked like he was just being goofy out there. Like, what the fuck? It was really odd to me. It was really odd. And if there was some miscommunication, so if this was Boone's decision, you're also a snowflake. We know he is, but like the Yankees just trying to always do the thing where they're going with brains over balls, right? They're always trying to be the smartest people in the room. So they're never going to tell you straight up who it was, but it just took everything positive away from Cole. Cole had it going. He was rounding into form. The numbers looked fantastic. The stuff was looking really crisp, but now you look at his numbers and he's got a 4 ERA again. Like, a couple of blowups. The Mets and Boston. Boston completely owns this guy. So he's lucky that he has had some really good postseason starts for the Yankees. Really just the one Boston start, which rubs everybody the wrong way. But like if he doesn't go out there and have another good October, I am so over this guy. He's got to keep having good Octobers because, man, this rubbed me the wrong way. If you're so afraid of the big moment, hand the keys to Luis Seal. I'm sure he'll get it done. It just bothers me. That's not a time where you do that. And I know Yankees fans were clamoring for the Yankees to start walking Devers or Cole to start walking Devers. I've never been on that train. If you follow me on social media, and I'll say it like once a night, I hate the intentional walk. I think it's cowardly as it is. But in a moment like that, that was crazy to me. Crazy to me. And then Cora makes the comments earlier today. Yankees fans got annoyed over it. Rightly so. Not going to lie to you. I kind of like it. I don't. Alex Cora, listen, as much as I hate Boston, I hate their redneck fans, I hate their city, I hate their teams. Alex Cora is kind of, like, I kind of like him. I kind of hate to like him. I don't know, man. I want cockiness from my manager. I want that guy who just pisses people off. I prefer that type of personality for my manager over what we have right now. I don't know. Alex Cora, I feel like if it was the Yankees manager, they'd probably have a championship by now. They definitely play a lot cleaner baseball. But I didn't really hate those comments about like, thanks for jump starting us. Okay. If I was a Red Sox fan, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm behind that shit. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That was it for Cole. Meza and Hill were scoreless the rest of the way. The bats, you really only had Gleyber Torres produce the run. He has the RBI base hit in the fourth inning at the time that made it 1-0, and Yankees lose 7-1. So Boone, total bum. The Yankees just in this game, there's at least one time a series where the Yankees just show how fundamentally challenged they are, or they just do stupid shit. So not only did this intentional walk abomination bother me, But you had the bottom of the third inning. Verdugo gets thrown out again, trying to stretch a base hit to a double. The bottom of the fourth inning, Jazz Chisholm gets picked off at first base again by a right-handed pitcher. Later in the game, Dominguez, it kind of looked like he fell asleep on a fly ball, allowing Jared Duran to tag from first to second. So it's just the same little things, right? The same little mistakes that this team continues to make under Boone, right? That's why I call them Boonie's Bombers, because it's just the way they play sometimes. But that game was quickly flushed when the Yankees won Game 4 today, Sunday, at a score of 5-2. You had the lefty Carlos Rodon going up against the righty Cutter Crawford. And I said in our last Yankees episode, this was the game that I think there would be quite a few home runs in because both pitchers are prone to giving up bombs, and that's exactly what happened. The Yankees scored 5 runs on 9 hits, 3 extra base hits, 2 of them home runs, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts, 1 sac fly, 1 ground into double play, and they were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position in the game versus Crawford. 4 runs in 4 and a third innings. Bottom of the second, Jazz Chisholm leadoff base hit, and then Giancarlo Stanton steps to the plate, rips an RBI double down the left field line on a hit and run, where Jazz is at first. Hit and run's executed. Jazz scores from first base. It's 1-0 Yankees. Bottom 3, Gleyber Torres with a leadoff home run to right field to make it 2-0. Soto picks up a base hit after that, and then Judge comes to the plate and gets a 92-mile-an-hour meatball down the heart of it, and he crushes this shit. 445 dead center field, hits the restaurant in center field. 2-run bomb. It's 4-zip Yankees. Cutter's done after 4 1/3. Boston bullpen, the Yankees were able to get 1 run on them in 4 2/3. That came in the bottom of the 7th where they were up 4-2. And then Stanton comes to the plate, picks up a sac fly, hard hit line drive to left field. 5-2 Yankees. So that was their breathing room there. Torres goes 2 for 5, homer, RBI. Judge goes 1 for 2 with a home run, 2 walks, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. Jazz Chisholm goes 1 for 4 with a stolen base. Stanton goes 1 for 2, a double, a sac fly, a walk, 2 RBIs. Dominguez goes 1 for 3 with a walk and a stolen base. Cabrera goes 2 for 4. On the mound, Carlos Rodon, 5 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run, 88 pitches, and the win. It was his 15th win of the season. I believe that's a career high for him, so that's good. It was a decent start. He didn't have his greatest stuff, but he was working quickly early. He breezed through the first 3 innings with only 30-something pitches. Top of the 4th inning comes, though, and he gets into a little bit of trouble. The Yanks are up 4-0 at the time. Makes a nice pitch, 97 up and into Devers, but he picks up a base hit. Then he goes 97 above the zone to O'Neill, but O'Neill crushes a 2-run home run off him to make it 4-2. So Boston's only down 2. But yeah, both of those, he made 2 decent pitches, but it was just 2 very good hitters. Devers rakes and O'Neill mashes lefties. After that home run, he gave up a few base hits, but did escape it. After Blake comes to the mound, he regains his composure, and he gets Story to strike out swinging. He goes slider, curve, slider, slider, and then he gets Jansen to pound a low changeup below the zone into a 5-3 ground out. So good for Rodon there. Top of the 6th, he did put some more traffic on. Wong picks up a 1-out double on a changeup that he left middle out. And then Yoshida hits into a 4-3 ground out on a slider low and away. That moves Wong to third base. And that was it for Carlos Rodon. He was pulled for Ian Hamilton after that, and Hamilton did get the job done. But Carlos Rodon finishes after 88 pitches. And again, just 2 runs and 5 1/3. The usual pitch mix, he was 43 four-seamer, 24 slider, then he went 16 change, 5 curve. He was kind of pitching backwards where he was establishing off speed early to set up the heat. A couple of first pitch curveballs to Story and Gonzalez a little later. Also a lot of first pitch change and first pitch slider. He was going change up a lot to righties, using it in fastball counts. And then he was using the front door slider to get some strikes. So he pitched well. Continues to be, again, he's my number 2 guy. I'm going to ride with Rodon. I really see him in the postseason. I could see him pitching a really good gem. And I just, the one thing that really concerns me, and I think this concerns everybody when it comes to Carlos, is, again, the home run ball. He does give up quite a few. There will be times where he's only throwing 94, 95, and he leaves it right in the middle of the zone. So it's like, shit. But when he's throwing hard and he's going up to 97, 98, and he's using that high heat to set up the slider low and away, front door, back door, he's a really good pitcher. Got the changeup in his back pocket. But I think that's why he's been so up and down, or at least was up and down in the middle of the summer there for a large portion of the season. It's just because he doesn't always have that confidence. One pitch gets hit around, he's afraid to go back to it, and one thing goes wrong, it'll rattle him. But if he's right, this guy's going to pitch like an ace. I worry about the home run ball. But I think Carlos Rodon has had a solid season where he's 8 innings and he's racked up Ks. So if he goes out there in the playoffs and he puts up good postseason starts, then this contract is going to be more than worth every penny. I'll say that right now. Because once the calendar flips to October, I do not give 1 shit, 2 shit, 3 shits about the 162. These all become meaningless exhibition spring training games for all I care. The minute that October hits the calendar, that's where your contract begins. And that's why the Yankees signed Carlos Rodon. So if he goes out there in October and he shoves 3-4 starts, however many he makes, I do not care about the 30 home runs that he's allowed this year, whatever. I do not care. I care about the playoffs. So right now we're living in the moment, but this all means nothing in 15 whatever days from now. The bullpen, 3 2/3, Hamilton, Hill, Holmes, Cousins, Canely. Probably didn't need to use all of them, but that's the problem. When you use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, one of them is bound to be off, and today it was Cousins. Struggled for the second consecutive outing where he gave up he hit the first batter he saw, and then he gave up a walk later on in the 9th inning. It was pulled for Canely, who got the job done. So everybody else but Cousins was good. Ian Hamilton, in particular, continues to be really good. And for that reason, I'm going to tip my cap to him, Ian Hamilton. Tipping my cap to Ian Hamilton in this series. He goes 2 1/3 innings, no runs, 5 strikeouts, 1 hit, no walks, no home runs, just a base hit, 31 pitches, 1 hold, gets a 1-0 decision across 2 games. He pitched in Game 1 on the 12th, and he pitched in Game 4 on the 15th. Ian Hamilton, 4 salutes now in the season. He has looked really crisp since his return. He's sitting 98 miles an hour. If that fastball is sitting 98, 97 like it's been, huge win. The Yankees have been needing a hard thrower in the bullpen all year. If you got Hamilton sitting 98, who can also run it, throw that little 2-seam, that's huge. And then he's got that Slombio pitch that he throws, which is the slider changeup pitch. That's been really good. He's finishing batters off a lot with that pitch, going fastball early in the count, finishing with 2 strikes with the slider Slombio thing. He's got like a changeup grip, but he kind of snaps his wrist like it's a slider. And so it creates this downward motion like a slider. But it's been really good off the fastball. And his numbers, on the season, not good because earlier in the year, didn't look right, was pitching hurt for sure. The velocity wasn't as great, but had months off, looks well rested, looks right, looks healthy. And he's back to being a guy who gets swing and miss, and he's avoiding barrels and just been really good. And he's a key for this bullpen. Ian Hamilton's a big key to this bullpen as one of the guys who throws hard and has swing and miss stuff. That's huge, right? If he looks good the rest of the way here in September, then this is another guy you can put right next to Weaver and Canely and Cousins as a guy you trust. And Tim Hill, he doesn't have the stuff that those guys do, but lefty specialist, submarine ground ball guy with that sinker. You got some arms that you can now rely on in this bullpen. And Ian Hamilton is one who I think could become one of those guys. So good for him. Again, that's his 4th salute on the season. Ian Hamilton continuing to do his damn thing. He's been excellent since his return. I think it's been 3 or 4 outings. That's it. Those are all 4 games. Some quick complaints before we wrap up the series. Some things on Boone. Obviously, again, if that intentional walk was him, you're a bitch. On Thursday, going to Clay Holmes and extras there, that was a little interesting to me. You had a man on base. It was a high leverage situation. Kind of the point of demoting him from closer was so that he didn't have those spots, I thought. So that was interesting, but it worked out. He had his stuff that night. And then on Saturday, game 3, no Dominguez kind of bothered me. This kid's going to need reps to be able to hit. He's going to need reps so he's ready for October. Hopefully he's freaking on that roster playing because I'm a little concerned. I'm getting a little nervous. Like, he's up here, but they're doing this platoon thing. And like, it doesn't make sense to me when you're platooning him with, like, the alternative is Verdugo. So you're talking to me about splits and reverses. It doesn't make sense when Verdugo is the alternative. Verdugo is not a guy who has good splits against anybody this year. Why are you so afraid to ice Alex Verdugo on a rental contract out? It's Alex Verdugo. Just play your young prospect. Get him ready for the postseason. They're doing the same shit that they did with Peraza. He never played, put him on the roster, and then he plays in a postseason game against the Astros. Like, don't have it be that. Play this kid every single day. And he's played 5 out of 7, but the 2 he sat came in a 4-game stretch. Like, I need him to find consistency. I need him to play every day. And then you don't sit Wells in game 4 like today. Like, I know Crawford's a right-handed pitcher. Never mind. Like, Crawford's not even a lefty. And you just gave Wells a day off recently. So what they always do, they did this a lot with Judge in the past, is they're doing a double day off. They're trying to give Wells 2 days in a row of rest because there's the day off tomorrow. But whatever. I'm not going to get too mad at that because Wells has been struggling, so maybe he's a little fatigued. Maybe we want to keep him fresh. But, he's 25 fucking years old. Whatever. Yeah, we have a couple things to talk about before we wrap up later. So let's get into those things when we get back from our second break here on BD4. Episode 711. We'll be back in a few seconds.
You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
All right. Welcome back to the show, episode 711 of BD4. So, Yankee bats over the last, couple of weeks, not even, last 10 games, I would say, have been a little up and down. This hasn't been the sharpest month for them lately. Top half of the order has been struggling. You guys saw some signs this series. First, Gleyber Torres has been hitting. Gleyber Torres has been really consistent at leadoff. He's been hitting, which is very important because he's got to get on base for Soto and Judge. But Gleyber Torres has been a positive. And I think the top half of the order showed some signs this series. But Gleyber Torres has been hitting. His approach to the plate looks really good right now. He's seeing a ton of pitches. I think he's averaging the 5th most pitches per plate appearances. He's getting in favorable counts, fastball counts where he's able to jump on one and take it to right field. He's going the opposite way a lot. That's helping him with the power. The 2-strike hitting's been there. And now he's had, such a good stretch here where his numbers on the year, he's got them up to league average. Like, I think after today, his numbers are exactly league average when you look at the OPS numbers. So he's hitting. Stanton went through that 7-game dry spell where he absolutely did nothing. He was just completely hurting the team every time he came up to the plate. And that's who he is. He's streaky. He was 1 for 26, which is an .038 batting average, I believe, across that 7-game span. This series, he showed some signs that he's getting a little bit closer. He took some tough pitches. He's seen the ball well. He's hitting the ball hard. In 3 games that he played against the Red Sox this series, he went 3 for 8, base hit, a single, 3 walks, a sac fly, 2 RBIs. Small sample, but seeing the ball better. And he's important, man. He's so important for this lineup. He's like that X factor. Stanton's always been important to this team. When he's on, the Yankees are always on, right? The Yankees' win percentage in Giancarlo Stanton starts this year, .650 in 100 games. The Yankees' win percentage when Stanton doesn't, .440 across 50 games. So there's your difference right there. They need this guy. He's important to them. Soto has not been good. He's shown some flashes, but they're going to need him. And Aaron Judge. It's finally nice to see some life again from Aaron Judge. He's hitting. He has awoken. As we said, the Paw Patrol curse is over. And speaking of Judge, I'm going to tip my cap to Aaron Judge for having a hell of a wake-up series. Aaron Judge this series, 5 for 13, which is a .385 batting average. He posted a .1423 OPS, a couple of doubles, a couple of home runs, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 runs scored, stole a base. Those are monster numbers in 4 games played. So that's what he did this series. Seeing the ball well again. That's now 16 salutes on the season. You know, thank you to Boston, right? You guys want to thank Garrett Cole for nothing because you guys aren't going to make the playoffs. Well, thank you for getting Aaron Judge hot at the perfect time. He's got 132 RBIs in 148 games. That is friggin' hilarious. That's so funny. The doubles are there. The homers are there. He's just been so good. So that's 16 salutes now to lead the Yankees. Aaron Judge. I want to talk about the bottom of the order now. Because as the top of the order is starting to heat up a little bit again, the bottom of the order production you still want to see a little more of. You know, I think, listen, I know people were excited about getting Rizzo back. There were literally people getting excited over it when he returned just because LeMahieu had been so bad. I think Rizzo's finished. I think he's just as much as a fossil as LeMahieu is. There's no pop left. It's a lot of opposite field bloops, a couple bloops to right field, but there's no pull power. The pull power is gone. The bat speed's gone. He can't catch up to a high fastball anymore. He's not getting on base. You know, he's not walking. He's not getting hits. You look at his baseball savant, and it's not even indicating that he's going to turn it around. Like, he's just washed. It's all blue. I'm going to read off some numbers here on his savant page. And if you're into the nerd stuff, great. If you're not, you could skip ahead. But Anthony Rizzo, baseball savant page, everything there, almost everything except for like his walk rate and his strikeout rate. Not his walk rate, his strikeout rate and his, I don't know, one other thing. Everything else is like blue. And it's like low, like 100 percentile is considered the best. 0 percentile is considered the worst. We're going to read off Anthony Rizzo's baseball savant. His expected weighted on base average, he's 21st percentile. His expected batting average, 28th percentile. His expected slugging, 13th percentile. His exit velo, 11th percentile. His barrel percentage is 13th percentile. His hard hit percentage, 15th percentile. His sweet spot percentage, 10th percentile. His chase rate, 15th percentile. His batting run value is 31st percentile. His base running value, 10th percentile. Fielding run value, 48th percentile. Range, in terms of outs above average, 48th percentile. His arm strength, 9th percentile. And his sprint speed, 2nd percentile. So, just all around, really, really not a good look. And I just think he's finished. And I would love if Cabrera would play some first base more during this division race down the stretch here, these final 12 games, I really think Cabrera should be getting these first base reps because Cabrera's been hitting. As a matter of fact, over Cabrera's last 51 games, he's batting .267 with a .408 slug, .326 on base, which gives him a .734 OPS, and he's got a 19% K rate during that span. And that's 51 games. That's a long stretch as it is. But then you also need to take into account he hasn't played every day this year. So he's hitting in a 51 game span right now with only 101 games total on the season. So that's over half his season where he's had a good stretch of hitting. He was also red hot earlier in the year. So you think about it, his only bad stretch was like the middle portion of the season. It was a small portion, I guess, in May. But he's been hitting most of the season. That's why it feels like Cabrera's been hitting. You know, he's squaring the ball up. And I know he's not an everyday player, but Rizzo's not an any-day player. So this is the best option you have right now. You know, and unfortunately, if the playoffs started tomorrow, or even, you know, in 15 days, like I don't know that I trust Cabrera to play first base in the playoffs just because he doesn't have enough reps. And that's unfortunate because maybe I trust him to play first if he got those first base reps all this time while Rizzo was out instead of DJ LeMahieu getting those reps. And that's so amazing to me. Like you're wasting valuable at-bats on LeMahieu where you could have been improving somewhere. You could have been learning things all of this time. But you're worried about veterans and clubhouse chemistry like he's some Hall of Famer who deserves that. You could have been using those at-bats, those reps at first base on Cabrera so that you could have been more comfortable and wouldn't be looking for answers in the middle of September in the middle of a pennant race. But I just don't know that I'm going to trust him at first base because maybe in these 12 games that'll be enough. I don't know. But he should definitely be playing the rest of the way here more than Rizzo because they need his bat. And, you know, not to make it seem like the bottom of the order, yes, the lineup's deep. It's a deep lineup. You know, it's not the Dodgers, you know, deep, but it's a deep lineup with Soto and Judge complemented with Torres and Chisholm and Stanton and Wells. Like that's 6 guys. That's 6 of 9 spots that have an OPS plus of 100 or higher. I believe that's where Torres is going to be after this game. That's good. That's really good. That's production from 6 out of 9 spots. You're going to have a couple of holes. One of those guys who's not producing a 100 OPS plus is Jasson Dominguez, who I'm pretty sure every single Yankees fan is high on and wants him out there. So, like, if you get one more guy hitting at the bottom of the order, producing adequately, that's a massive win. So is that guy, I don't know, is it Volpe? I don't know if it's Volpe. Because right now, Volpe's at-bats are just totally uncompetitive. You know, I want to believe he can hit, but he's chasing out of the zone. That swing has got this loop in it again. He's getting pull happy. He's not really going to right field. Like, kind of reminded me of the path that Torres took. You know, how Torres had surprising home run power for a middle infielder earlier in his career, and he started getting into pull mode. Same with Gary. Like, I don't want Volpe taking that same path and ruining his production. You know, he's taken a lot of good pitches down the pipe, like meatballs, that he just spit on for no reason. And he's just not getting it. He's leaving villages on base. Bases loaded, second and third. It's crazy. I don't know if it's just fatigue. Like, they haven't sit him. They haven't sat him. You know, John Boy tried to tell Boone, you should probably sit him. He got yelled at. But, you know, it's gotten to a point where it's been so bad. Most of us fans are just like, yeah, no, Volpe's up. So let's go get a drink. Let's go to the bathroom. Let's take the dog out. Like, we're just accepting him as a light hitter. That's not supposed to be the thing. He's supposed to hit. Top 5 prospect in all of baseball at the time. But the numbers have been not just bad, but they're alarmingly bad. Like, the numbers are alarming. it's like, uh-oh, is this kid, not a project, but something else that starts with a B? Like, in his last 21 games, he's got a 461 OPS, a 231 on base, a 230 slugging. Go back to his last 70 games if you want. His OPS is in the 500s. His on base is below 250. Like, it's bad. You go to his baseball savant page, that's not promising either. It's all blue. So he's hitting the fastball a little bit, but he's still not hitting off speed. He's still not hitting breaking balls. So, I talked about Cabrera needing more reps. To be honest, I wish he got shortstop reps, but he won't because Volpe plays every single day. Isn't that bad that we know Cabrera's not going to be getting Volpe's reps? Isn't that really bad that we know he's not going to be playing over him? Just because Volpe's got the prospect pedigree and they're obsessed with it. Like, if Volpe didn't have that pedigree and you just watched baseball with no context, you didn't know who was a top guy and who wasn't, I think everybody would tell you Cabrera is the better shortstop, better player. But I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Dominguez? Like I said, the upside's obviously there. So he could be an X factor in the playoffs. I think Chisholm's going to be a big contributor in the postseason, though. But I like Dominguez, man. I really want to see more from him. I want him to play every day. I love his swing. I like the fact that he's known for this elite power. It's in this short, stocky body. He's got a ton of bat speed. And he's gotten off to a slow start. Who cares? I think he's put together some decent at-bats lately. I really do. He looks like he has an approach. He's not going up there and just swinging and just going pitch by pitch. It looks like he actually has an approach to the plate. That's a good sign from a young player, right? The internal clock looks there, like he's reaching base a little bit lately. Again, we mentioned he's spitting on some tough pitches. The 10-pitch at-bat. He has an 8-pitch at-bat against Bayo. So we haven't seen the power yet. A lot of ground balls. A lot of his contact has been on the ground so far. That's a sign that maybe he's a little too pull happy at the moment. But he's still making impact on the bases. Like, even if he's not picking up extra base hits, he's advancing into scoring position with his speed and base running. He's taking bases, But I just think with more reps, you're going to get more production, more consistency. But I just think the Yankees need to have a fucking plan. Have a plan for the kid, man. Play him every single day, please. Stop with the stopgap. Play Dominguez. There are 4 series left, folks, and we'll talk about that when we return from our final break here on BD4. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 711 of BD4. The Yanks take 3 from the loser Sox. 4 series remaining now after this. That means 12 games remaining. They have a West Coast trip coming up. And then after that, they finish with their final homestand of the regular season. So they've got 3 in Seattle coming up to this week. They wrap up the week with 3 more in Oakland. Then they come home to play Baltimore for 3 games. Again, that's got potential to be a massive series. And then they finish up the regular season with 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, couple contenders in there, couple bottom feeders, but 12 games left. You got to keep winning. Can the Yankees do 8-4 at the least? Can you do 8? If they do 8-4, you got a good chance to win this division. But yeah, Seattle is next. They go play the Mariners, who have won 3 in a row. They have won 7 of their last 10. They are in second place in the AL West right now at 77 and 73, a .513 win percentage. They're struggling this year. They're not really good, but they are 4.5 games from Houston for first place. And they're currently tied with Detroit, 2.5 back of Minnesota for the wild card. So they're still in the thick of the race. They can't hit for shit. So might be a good series for Yankees starting pitching and bullpen to pad their numbers a little bit. They are, however, the Mariners, a really good pitching team. Like really good, which is keeping them in this race. They're second in ERA in baseball, first in rotation, 10th in bullpen. But yeah, the good thing this series is the Yankees will be missing Castillo, who's currently on the DL, and Seattle's throwing all right-handed pitching. So they have Heel versus the right-hander Wu on Tuesday. Wu's having a real good season. He's won 8 of 10 decisions on the year. Wednesday, it's Cortez versus Miller, who's also having a good year. And then Thursday, Schmidt versus Gilbert, who's also having a good season. But that's it. The Mariners come next. Hopefully, the Yankees can get a nice sweep. That would be nice, but I don't expect that against a good pitching Mariners team. But maybe this is a series where Judge breaks out. He usually hits in that ballpark. But it's a West Coast trip, so I think these games coming up are 9:40 p.m. here on the East Coast. So that'll be fun. That's it, folks. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'm going to wrap this up with our trivia. Let's get to that right now. .711. That should say episode 711, not 710 if you're watching the podcast. 711. When was the last decade the Yankees went below 500 against the Red Sox? All right. When was the last decade the Yankees went below 500 against the Red Sox? All right. So let me know the answer. That's it, people. Episode 711 of BD4 in the books. Appreciate you all tuning in. We are an hour and 3 minutes in, so we'll wrap it up right here. Thanks all. And if you haven't checked out our next episode, check out 710. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!